with me and Vanessa. And today we have Millie. And I'm going to let Millie introduce herself. So, Millie, tell us more about who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for having me. My name is Millie Gormely. I am a certified financial planner, and I specialize in working virtually with single women in the province of Ontario, Canada, because that's where my licensing is. So that's my little geographical block. And frankly, I believe that my industry has not done a stellar job of really seeing to the needs that single women have and just taking care of women in general. And that's something that I want to change.
Wow, that was pretty fast and quick because I've been there before. I was divorced and single and don't know what the heck that I did, but I actually wing it.
And that's the thing. You shouldn't have to wing it. You should be able to find someone that you can work with that's going to, have a good sense of what your next steps should be and how you can move forward and how you can kind of think about it. Everybody's situation is different, and there's no one size fits all way to set up a financial plan. For me, there's three kind of steps that you need to sort of think about when you're looking at your financial plan, whether you're single or not, widowed, divorced, whatever. The first one is really just to kind of get clear about the situation. And sometimes that's just a matter of looking at everything and knowing what it is that you've got, what's coming in, what's going out, what are your bills, what are your debts, what kind of salary expectations do you have going forward, what do you have in savings, what kind of things are you invested in, just kind of setting it all out on the table. And I've actually done this with clients. When I was meeting with clients virtually, I had one client literally bring in a garbage bag full of stuff. It was just papers that she'd gotten herself completely overwhelmed and she didn't know what to do with anymore. So we just got the boardroom table, we spread everything out, we sorted it up, we threw out what was not necessary, and we got clear. And that's the first step in order to moving forward with any kind of a financial plan. Second step would be to just get kind of confident about who you are and what you want your money to do for you, and then put a plan in place to make that happen. And that's really where a professional could be incredibly helpful in doing that, just to help you kind of clarify what your life wants to be. And that's one of the huge benefits of being a single person when you're doing your financial plan, is that it's all about you. You might have kids, you might have parents that you need to look after, and you've got responsibilities and things, and they're not, saying you're footloose and fancy free, but your financial plan is really about what you want your life to look like going forward. It's a kind of a, what do you want to be when you grow up kind of conversation that we sometimes have, right? And it's really a chance to focus on yourself and focus on how to move forward. And then once you've got sort of all of the pieces of your financial plan in place, all those pieces of your financial life working together, so that includes your cash management, what's coming in, what's going out, that generally leads into, okay, well, what can we do to save money for you? Let's look at building things for the future. That leads pretty easily into retirement planning and investment planning. Then you start looking at, okay, well, I've got all these plans in place. How do I protect that? That's when we have a conversation about insurance, because that's what's going to protect either your income stream or your lifestyle or your loved ones if something were to happen to you. And then, of course, you talk about tax planning to make sure that you maintain just the right amount of tax that the government doesn't, get on your case. No more, no less. Just the right amount. And estate planning. I don't want any of my clients to die on a pile of money. I want you to enjoy your life and to really kind of use that money for your own purposes. But ideally, there's going to be something left when you're done and gone. And now, how do you want that distributed? So that becomes a part of the whole planning thing. And then once you've got all those things in place, then you can kind of be comfortable and you can relax and you can know that, okay, I've got a plan in place. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. I've got my insurance in place. I'm saving up, I'm investing, etc. And even though a financial plan is not a one and done thing, you do want to revisit it when things change for you or when markets really change and you kind of want to take a look at things. You tweak it, but you can kind of be comfortable knowing that you've got a plan in the works. And that's a huge, huge thing for people.
Yes. I was just talking to my daughter who is 20, turning 21 next year. And I was just going exactly the same thing. So in the viewers or the audience who are listening, it's never too early or never too late to start planning for your investment or even like for your future. So yeah, it's always good, especially a mom like me. I'm sure that other audience out there who have like daughters or sons, you have to go in and establish and then instill a way to like start saving and start planning, even though you're still kind of like, you know, have a life to live. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's really important because my family, my parents never knew of like, you know, how to budget or make use of money. So money is really important in everybody's lives,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, money is, I mean, money's not the be all and end all. Like I said, it's not about, you know, just getting a pile of money. That's not really the point. What money does is it gives you choices, it gives you options, and that gives you freedom. And that's a huge thing, you know, to have that, to know that if, okay, your job sucks and you really want to quit and you really want to start your own business. Not everybody wants to do that, but a lot of people do. And if you already have a cushion of, you know, 6 months salary sitting in an investment that you can use to live off of while you're getting your business established, that's an enormously freeing thing to have in place, right? So, and that's just one example. So yeah, it's interesting that you talk about being never too early and never too late. Your daughter is hugely advantaged because she has so much time to work with. So starting off where she is now, just a tiny amount of savings can be a huge benefit to her down the road. And it's still not too late for, you know, you and me and women older than us to do something to improve your financial lives. If I were starting from scratch today, it would probably be too late for me to expect to become a millionaire. But that's okay. I'd still be able to do something to make what I've currently got better. And that's better than nothing, you know?
Yeah. It's always like start from like what's how much money that is coming in and then how much that you're actually spending on a monthly basis.
And where you're spending it too.
Yes, exactly. So I mean like I've been studying like, you know, on my own. And I have to go ahead and tell everybody in here is that don't do it alone.
Well, it's great to have just sort of a second opinion, especially when you're talking about, you know, the savings, because you might look at, okay, you've got 13 different streaming services that you're subscribing to and you think you need them all. And I'm going to look at that and go, really? Are you sure about that? Really?
Use.
Yeah, exactly. Which one do you use the most? You know, and sometimes these conversations can get a little bit uncomfortable. But that's why it's important to be working with someone that you can trust to tell you what you need to hear, as a you know, in addition to what you want. It is about what you need as well. And sometimes I need to have conversations with people saying, DoorDash is no substitute for cooking. And you know, just it seems sort of silly, but those things do add up over time hugely.
It's sure that if it's like a cup of coffee somewhere that you stop by, or it's just like addicting enough to go ahead and like, you know, buy something, a professional like you, I mean, like would actually like find where you are losing money, and then you're thinking like, hey, how much I've actually like made, but how much I actually save. But the I guess what I'm trying to say is just that the thing that you don't even like looked at is something that you overlooked, and then you're like wondering, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but then come to think about it, you're spending things that you're not necessarily needing but wanting. So you have to go and prioritize on how you actually use your dollars.
Absolutely. And it's not always as obvious as, you know, you've got all these streaming services or you've got a closet full of clothes with the tag still on. Sometimes it is how you sort of structure your payments. So you might not necessarily be spending over and above what you should be, but if you're putting it on a credit card and you're kind of leaving it there, then you're paying all of these interest charges that are going to add up over time. Well, let's look at maybe talking about getting you a line of credit, because if your credit is good, then you can get a line of credit for a much lower interest rate, move your credit card balances to there, get rid of some of the credit cards so that you're not tempted to do the same thing again. But you could be paying off your debt at a much lower interest rate. And over time, again, that could save you literally thousands of dollars that you can spend.
Yes. Interest can be an enemy or your best friend.
Yep, exactly. You want, and it's interesting. The times that we live in are very interesting because interest rates are starting to come up again when they've been just going lower and lower and lower for a very long time. So really,
Mhm.
there's an entire generation of investors and advisors and journalists who have never seen a real recession and have never seen interest rates go up. So a lot of people are kind of freaking out,
Yeah.
and they don't know what's going to happen and they don't know how that's going to affect them. And that's kind of the nice thing about being in the industry for a long time. I've been around since 2006, so 16 years I've been doing this,
Yeah.
and I've been through some stuff, and so it's nice to be able to look at someone's situation and say, okay, it's not as bad as you think it is. Just
Uh-huh.
everybody calm down. We're going to get this sorted out, and
Yeah.
then you can relax about it. And that's, for me, that's huge, is being able to put clients in a situation where they can be comfortable in their lives. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean, never eating out again or never enjoying anything in your life. You can do that too, but it's being smart about it.
Yes, being smart with your money and making sense of it, like CENTS, sense, money.
Yes. Yep.
But
Yep.
I know that, you do offer a one-on-one 30-minute conversation. So in that way, for those who are listening with us right now on a live or a replay, they'll be able to go in and at least have like accountability or go over with you, because like what you said, a professional set of eyes would actually
Yep.
help you pretty much plan it out, write it on a piece of paper where you can go ahead and just like really like dig in to how you can make your money more sense to you and
Mhm.
building that legacy at the same time. So can you tell us more about that 30-minute conversation?
Yeah, so basically my door is open, in that sense. I do work virtually, mind you, but yeah, the idea is just to have a conversation with someone who's been around for a long time and who's seen a lot of stuff that happens in the markets and with how people plan their lives, and just to get a sense of, okay, well, where are you at? How are you feeling about things? And is there something that I can do to help you going forward? And if there is, I'll tell you. And if there isn't, I'll tell you some other things. I mean, just being able to talk about these things for a half an hour without having to kind of justify yourself, because it's not always about numbers.
Mhm.
It's about how you feel about money. It's about how you feel about where you're at in life. And I can definitely, provide some kind of direction and kind of give you a sense of, okay, if the next step isn't with me, maybe the next step should be with an accountant, or maybe you've been putting off filing your taxes for a very long time and now, the government is after you. I can help you kind of figure out, okay, well, what's the next step to take to get that monkey off your back, and
Yes.
just those kinds of conversations. So it's really, an initial conversation with me is not about exactly having, I don't need all of your statements right up front. I don't need to have a copy of your tax return. I do need you to have kind of at least a half decent sense of what you've got going on, as much as you can. But it's really about, okay, what can we do in this half hour time period to give you a sense of direction with your finances.
That's really great. So for those who are still at a loss, you are able to go in and like get a hold of Millie, and then have a conversation with her. No obligation, no whatsoever. We'll go ahead and put that down, all of the links where they can find you and how to get a hold of you. And
Great.
thank you so much, Millie, for this time to go ahead and like kind of like specifically talk it out, like for women, single women out there
Mhm.
that are which age you are. And it's, you got to go ahead and start and then get this going.
And don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Like, I think, again, my industry tends to be a little bit intimidating and has traditionally done a lot of don't worry your pretty little head over it when it comes to working with women. And I think that's, I could swear here, but I won't. But I think that needs to be changed. That's not an attitude that I want to put forth out there. So, but there are advisors like me, like others, who actually do care and want to know what it is that you want in your life and how can we get you there.
Awesome. Awesome. And what would be like the last piece of advice for those who are like listening?
Again, don't be afraid to talk to a professional.
Oh,
just have a conversation and get a sense of what your next steps are. You got to start somewhere, and why not now?
all right. That sounds good. Well, that was straight to the point, and let's get to it. For those who are like, still there, have their foot in the door, but you got to go ahead and open that door and then push
That's
forward.
right.
But anyway,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Millie. This has been a really great talk. And we'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll have Millie's all of her links to get a hold of you guys. So thank you so much. Have a great one.